A continuous course of conduct for these. They involve a similar modus operandi, involve the same victim. So I think that venue in Warren County is appropriate for all three of these offenses. Under the age of 13 for the purposes of count 1. For the purpose of count 2 and count 3, I find that the state has met their burden of force, considering the age of the victim, the age of the defendant, and their relationship in a quasi-parental relationship, that the coercion in that is met. I find the defendant is not guilty of count 4. I believe that the victim actually has to open and review it in order for that to be met. I find that with regard to the...
Welcome to Court and Case, where the law meets the facts. Get ready to dive deep.
With regard to the domestic violence incident, that this cannot be in any way viewed as reasonable parental discipline. I find that the defendant is guilty of count 5. Domestic violence is a first-degree misdemeanor. Any questions about the findings of the court?
No, Judge.
You know, we need to do the registration notification. We did not get that far last time, so we do need to break. We are back on the record in the Villatoro case. Today, was it read to him again today?
The gentleman asked, and Mr. Villatoro answered, it had been read to me before. I am not going to sign it because I'm not in agreement with the 25.
Okay. So, Mr. Villatoro, as a preliminary matter, this document was read to you? Is that right?
Okay. Yes.
And you understand it, you just don't want to sign it, right?
I do understand.
Okay. You are required to register for a period of 25 years with in-person verification every 180 days. And your current address is at the jail.
She does not, apparently, Your Honor. She's satisfied with what she shared with you the last time.
Okay. All right. Mr. Harden?
Your Honor, with my calculations, it looks like the defendant can serve up to a 86-month sentence for the charges for which he has been convicted. We believe a significant prison term is appropriate in light of the behaviors that this defendant engaged in, the effect that it's had upon her life as a result of that behavior, and we'd ask the court to impose a prison sentence at this time.
Short, anything from probation?
Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Bogan or Mr. Martinez?
With regards to the sentencing, I wanted to speak up about what's going to happen to Mr. Villatoro once he has completed his sentence, regardless of the time it lasts. Mr. Villatoro, being here without proper documentation, he is going to be targeted by ICE. ICE is going to hold her on him. They're going to keep him detained even after the end of his sentence. He will begin deportation proceedings then with the type of charges on which he has been found guilty. He faces essentially guaranteed deportation. We can't guarantee it as an attorney, but it might as well be a fact. Mr. Villatoro comes originally from El Salvador. And El Salvador is where they have CICOT, which is the mega jail that they have there, where when people arrive being deported from the United States, if they have criminal charges in the United States, they get sent aside directly with the police. He will very likely be placed in CICOT when he goes there. CICOT, again, it's a mega jail. It's a jail where people go in, they don't come out. There's very little to no rights whatsoever when this happens to him. And not only that, but he's going to be in there in cells with another 50, 100 people, where because of the charges, his life is probably going to be in danger. All this to say that any type of sentence or time that he might do here, he's going to do that as well in El Salvador. I think based on that, I think it's to better serve the purposes of using better resources in the jail and using resources here, knowing that that's what's going to happen to him. I think it's better for him to just be turned into immigration and be sent over to El Salvador.
So Villatoro, you get the last word in this. Is there anything that you would like to tell me?
And they're accusing me and they're condemning me for something that I didn't do.
Digo
How is it possible that
que
she told
cuando
her
andaba
mom,
con
who is
el-
right behind us? I don't understand where this sentence is coming from if really they haven't been willing to investigate things thoroughly. Last time she was in front of you, she told you clearly that she was afraid of men. And that is those are big lies. She had 4 or 5 boyfriends at school and 4 to 5 others online.
ya
And
foto
they
de
always
pena también.
exchanged nude pictures. She will send pictures to them, and she will get them from them. I always had problems with her ever since since I moved with Jedinet back in 2018. We always get calls from school reporting that she was always distracted with boys at school, and that's why she always got bad grades. And there's a bunch of other things that don't make sense.
So here's where I'm at on this, Mr. Villatoro. And, you know, we talked about this when we were here the last time where, you know, you basically told me, you know, I didn't do anything. That's why we had a trial today. And you also talked about the investigation and so forth. You know, ultimately, Mr. Villatoro, I've done a lot of these cases, unfortunately, in the time that I've been a judge. It doesn't matter how much investigation there is out there. This still comes down to whether or not the victim is to be believed in this case. Whether or not I believe, it's not only whether or not I believe her, but whether I believe her beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest burden that we have in the law. I do find that she was very credible in this case, as is true of most of us. Not perfect in this world, but quite believable. There is no doubt in my mind that you did to her the things that she said that you did to her, and I found you guilty. And I sort of understand the position that this puts you in, that, you know, you were telling me before that you weren't guilty of anything, and then I ask you what you want to say. It's not really practical for me to think that you're going to express some sort of remorse or something. I don't really expect that. I do understand what Mr. Martinez is saying with regard to what your possible punishment may be someplace else. It's always been my position, though, Mr. Villatoro, I'm not a federal judge. I don't deal with immigration, and I don't deal with immigration consequences. I don't hold it against somebody that they are not in this country legally for the purposes of their sentence. Likewise, it's not realistic for me to try to jump into the future and determine what some other country might be or what they might do in this case. It seems appropriate to me that there would be a holder and that you would be ejected from this country. That seems to make sense. If you're going to have an agency that kicks people out of this country, that you would be one of them that we would want to get rid of. Whether or not you serve a sentence in some other country, that is not part of my sentence here. I'm going to sentence you to 84 months in prison, which is 7 years in prison. We do these offenses in months, not in years. This is a 60-month sentence on the GSIS count 1. This is 12 months on count 2 and 12 months on count 3. I'm going to order a concurrent 180-day sentence on the misdemeanor offense. I'm going to order that these sentences be served consecutively because I think a consecutive sentence is necessary to properly punish you, to protect the public. The harm here that was caused is so severe that a single prison sentence will not accomplish that objective, and the overall sentence is not disproportionate to the conduct involved here or the danger posed by you. This includes a mandatory post-release control of 5 years. That means the adult parole authority, assuming that you were to remain in this country, is going to supervise you. And if you violate the terms of that supervision, you can be returned to prison for up to 1/2 of my original sentence. I find you're indigent, so I'm not going to impose any sort of financial sanction, and you are ordered to register as a Tier 2 sex offender. You do have the right to appeal this to the 12th District Court of Appeals in Middletown. All right, good luck to you, Mr. Villatoro.
He walked into court denying everything. Minutes later, the judge gave him 7 years behind bars. After a full trial, the defendant is found guilty of multiple serious offenses, including charges involving a victim under 13 and a domestic violence offense. But even after the verdict, he refuses to accept responsibility. He argues that the victim's story doesn't make sense and insists that the investigation failed to uncover the truth. The judge sees things very differently. He explains that the case ultimately came down to credibility, and after hearing the evidence, he finds the victim believable beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense makes one final argument, warning that the defendant's immigration status could lead to serious consequences after his sentence. The judge acknowledges the concern, but refuses to factor those possible consequences into his punishment. Then, the hammer drops. 84 months. 7 years in prison. The sentences will run consecutively, followed by 5 years of post-release control and mandatory registration. The defendant denies everything. The judge has heard enough.